Spider-Man, Across the SpiderVerse ending explained and our biggest questions about Beyond the SpiderVerse. Breaking down the end of Part 1 and what to expect in Part 2. You want to know if Across the SpiderVerse has any post-credits scenes? We'll tell you right here, no, there are no post-credits scenes in the movie, whether mid-credits or after the final credits roll. Read on for our full breakdown of the film with spoilers. Spider-Man, Across the SpiderVerse review treats fans to the next chapter of Miles Morales' superhero journey, and with the film being only half of a two-part story, it tees up the next installment, Beyond the SpiderVerse. We're going to share whether Across the SpiderVerse has any credits scenes, break down the ending of Across the SpiderVerse, and address the big questions heading into Beyond the SpiderVerse. Does Across the SpiderVerse have a post-credits scene? The latest Spider-Man movie does not feature any mid-credits or post-credits scenes. There is a title card that appears during the end credits, however, and which states the obvious: Miles Morales will return in Spider-Man, Beyond the SpiderVerse. Still cool, though. Spider-Man, Beyond the SpiderVerse, the third film in the Into the Spider-Verse saga, is scheduled to be released on March 29, 2024. Spider-Man, Across the SpiderVerse ending explained. The ending of Spider-Man, Across the SpiderVerse focuses on Miles Morales, Shameik Moore, and Gwen Stacy, Haley Steinfeld, who find themselves in two very different universes. At the turning point in the movie, Miles is hit with a pair of shocking revelations. First, Miles learns that the number 42 spider that bit him was from another universe and was supposed to be the origin of that world's Spider-Man, which means he is an anomaly who was never supposed to become Spider-Man. That's why the Spider Society didn't want him as a member, as previously hinted at by Gwen. Spider-Man 2099 aka Miguel O'Hara, Oscar Isaac, explains that when you mess with the canon, then it causes mayhem in that universe, and he says Miles becoming Spider-Man is what caused the death of his world Spider-Man. Then, to make matters worse, Miles learns that the canon dictates every Spidey must endure a specific tragedy, and that his father is destined to die once he becomes police captain. If the canon is broken, then it can cause irreparable damage to that universe. As we saw when Miles saved the police captain in Mumbai and a black hole opened up, Miguel says that if the canon breaks enough, it could have catastrophic consequences across the Spider-Verse. Miles doesn't believe all this and refuses to simply let his father die. So he escapes the Spider Society by using the machine that sends people back to their home dimension. Seeing the Spot arrive at this location takes us one step closer to the fated death of Miles's dad. Miles goes home and is shocked to find his uncle Aaron is still alive, and he realizes he accidentally wound up in the wrong universe. It turns out the machine sent him to the world the number 42 radioactive spider came from, because that's the origin of his spider powers. Miles is captured by this universe's Uncle Aaron and an evil variant of himself who became the Prowler. In this world without a Spider-Man, New York City is in bad shape. Jefferson Davis died instead of Uncle Aaron, and Miles went down a dark path where he became a criminal instead of a hero. Miles asks his variant to help him save his father, but Prowler Miles doesn't seem to care. Meanwhile, the villainous Spot, Jason Schwartzman, has finally accumulated enough dark matter spots from other universes to enact his master plan and take revenge on Miles. He transports himself back to Earth 1610 just outside Miles' home where his mother and father currently reside. Earlier in the film, Miles sees a vision of his father being killed while saving a child from being crushed by a collapsing building, and the Spot appears to be the cause of that collapse. Seeing the Spot arrive at this location takes us one step closer to the fated death of Miles's dad. But not all hope is lost. Spider-Gwen goes home and has a heart-to-heart with her father, Captain Stacy, who finally accepts her. Gwen goes to Miles' home but realizes that he's not there, so she rallies a group of Spideys to go help him, in defiance of Spider-Man 2099 and the Spider Society. Her crew includes Spider-Punk aka Hobie Brown, Daniel Kaluuya, Mumbai Spider-Man aka Pavita Prabhakar, Karen Soni, Spider-Bite aka Margot Cass, Amanda Stenberg, Peter B. Parker, Jake Johnson, and his daughter along with old friends from Into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Ham, Spider-Man Noir, and Penny Parker piloting SP//DR. Our biggest questions going into Beyond the Spider-Verse. Can Miles defy Spider-Man canon and save his dad? This is the big cliffhanger we're left on at the end of Across the SpiderVerse, and it will undoubtedly be the crux of Beyond the Spider-Verse. Will Miles be able to save his dad, or is Jefferson Davis fated to die according to the canon? Miles is an anomaly. So maybe the rules of the canon don't apply to him, which may allow him to break the cycle of tragedy that has thus far defined Spider-Man and forge a new future where Spideys can become heroes without suffering tragic loss. It's hard to imagine Miles will let his father die. So if he does save his life, then what will happen to his universe and the Spider-Verse? It could destroy everything as we know it. But before any of that comes to pass, Miles will have to deal with Prowler Miles and his Uncle Aaron. Prowler Miles was clearly brought up without his father's big heart or the parental guidance of Peter B. Parker. He's cold and steely, completely apathetic to Miles' dilemma. One would think Prowler Miles would jump at the chance to save his father, even if it's the Jefferson Davis of another universe, but being raised by Uncle Aaron has hardened him into a villainous, uncaring young man. It's hard to imagine how Miles will be able to convince them to let him go, let alone help him save his dad and the Spider-Verse, but that will be his first big challenge at the beginning of Beyond the Spider-Verse. What will happen to SpiderGwens Universe? It's clear that Gwen Stacy will lead her team of fellow Spider Rebels to save Miles in Beyond the Spider-Verse, but she may have bigger problems to worry about. After Gwen revealed her secret identity as Spider-Woman to her father Captain Stacy and ran away, he decided to quit his job. If we're following the logic of canon, then that means he's no longer fated to die because he's no longer a captain. Will this break in canon unravel Gwen's dimension? It's certainly possible. But perhaps she's found a loophole that lets the captain in her canon live without destabilizing her world. That could be the key to helping Miles save his father and prevent the Spider-Verse from collapsing. Will Miles Morales wind up with Gwen Stacy? Look, we know the fate of the Spider-Verse is at stake, but we're incredibly invested in Miles and Gwen, so their romance is an important subject to discuss. Even though Gwen has an implied history with Spider-Punk, she's crashed in his universe a few times and is wearing his chucks, and Miles clearly had eyes for Spider-Bite. That doesn't mean they don't still have intimate feelings for one another. They're teens, after all. They're honest. Emotional Upside Down talk showed how strong their bond has become. It was Gwen's affection for Miles that saw her seek him out despite being ordered not to, and it's why she assembled a group of spider friends to save him at the end. Spider-Man stories have a habit of ending in tragedy, and Gwen is well aware that other Gwens usually don't survive, but perhaps these two can defy canon and find a way to live happily ever after. Will Tom Holland's Spider-Man be in Beyond the Spider-Verse? Tom Holland's Spider-Man was conspicuously missing from Across the Spider-Verse. During the explanation of Spider-Verse canon, we saw virtually every incarnation of Spider-Man represented, including the other two live-action movie Spider-Mans. Footage from the Amazing Spider-Man universe and the Sam Raimi Spider-Man universe showed Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire mourning their loved ones, but where was Tom Holland's Spider-Man? Perhaps they're saving his cameo for Beyond the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man producer Amy Pascal did say they're working on a live-action Miles Morales movie, so perhaps Miles will step into the realm of live-action at the end of Beyond the Spider-Verse and it will be Holland's Spidey who greets him? That's total speculation, but hey, crazier things have happened. Thanks a lot for watching, guys.